Hey guys, welcome back to Cereal at Midnight. My name is Heath Holland. I got my Chris Christopherson shirt on. I got my Movies Matter bracelet on, and I'm shooting from a different angle so as you can see. I don't know, just trying to keep it visually interesting and show some parts of my collection that aren't always visible on screen. We got a ton of ground to cover in this video, and I need to move kind of fast just because there's so much of it. I mean, you saw the thumbnail, right? We have a ton of titles to get through here, and in a perfect world, I would spend. So you guys saw I hope you saw my video review for Crimson Peak, which has just come out from Arrow. That's an example of me saying, oh, I have a lot of things to say about this movie. I make a dedicated video review, not just for that release, because the release, like, that's not even the point. The point is to talk about the movie. That's my goal, is to talk about the movie. And then I give you some information at the end, like, okay, here's all the things that are included. Here's what the transfer looks like. I would love to do that for everything that comes in. I would love to do that for every movie in this Imprint collection that we're about to talk about. But I worked for 3 days on that Crimson Peak review. So it's not possible because the movies are coming out so fast. There's so much of this stuff. It is the best of times and it's the worst of times because our wildest dreams have come true. But I no longer have time to watch all this stuff before I talk to you about it. So these videos, these super shows become more and more necessary so that I can make sure. I mean, the whole reason I get this stuff from the studios and the distributors in the first place is to show you, to let you know that they're out and to give you my thoughts on them. So that's goal number one. And it's like, it's an overwhelming task. And some days it feels like an impossible task, but Lord knows I try. So we're going to talk about Imprint in this video. We're going to talk about Umbrella Entertainment in this video. We're going to talk about Fun City Editions, Blue Underground. We got a 4K from Blue Underground. We're going to talk about ClassicFlix. Alpha Video, who I'm so happy to be covering Alpha Video now, because if you've seen my videos with Brian Cray, so many of you guys have connected with him and you're like, oh, this dude loves these movies. He's making them happen. He's the guy making them happen. So let's kick it off with Imprint. This is going to cover, let's see, releases 301 through I think 312. I've covered every Imprint release so far right here at Cereal at Midnight. You've been here for it. This is the Directed by John Farrow collection. I love these directors collections. Somebody complained one time, I mean, you can't take YouTube comments seriously because one, they're never about you. They're always about the person leaving the comment. It's always they needed to say something. They were frustrated that these director's box sets aren't the entire career of the director in a box. Like, well, some of these directors work for multiple studios over a period of like 50 years. There's no way that could be complete, right? So this is the John Farrow collection with some incredible films, some of which I have a personal stake in, which we're going to talk about that in just a second. But I love these. Let me set this right here. I love these box sets. I'm gonna go pretty quick, guys, because there's a lot of ground to cover. Commandos Strike at Dawn. This is bare bones. I say bare bones. We don't even have a trailer. I'm sorry. I was gonna say there's a trailer, but it's just HD presentation. But they more than made up for that with some of this other stuff. So the Hitler Gang from 1944. Think about a movie 1944 for this movie, which is like right there peak, like when it's happening. This has a commentary by Daniel Kramer and Alan Arkush, a video essay by David Cairns, and an educational film, The Rise of a Dictator. So from 1944. So it's a contemporary contemporary film about Hitler. It's nice to have that on a disc. Night Has 1,000 Eyes. I love this movie. Kino Lorber put this movie out a few years ago, and I loved it so much that I did take time to write a full review for it. It's Edward G. Robinson, and it's dealing with like inevitability. It's a smart screenplay, and I really like it. In fact, I think, don't quote me, but I think Alan K. Rhodey just hosted a screening of this somewhere in California. Was it at TCM Fest? It might not have been that, but great noir adjacent style movie. We got a commentary by Imogen Sarah Smith, the author's prerogative, biographer Marilyn Ann Moss on John Farrow's films and the life that made them. That's new. And then the radio version of this story, which again, I really, really love. Night Has 1,000 Eyes. Also a great song by Bobby V, right? It was The Night Has 1,000 Eyes, which is it's not related at all, but it's an expression. The night has 1,000 eyes. Submarine Command. William Holden, Nancy Olson, William Bendix, Don Taylor. This has it's a 4K scan from Paramount, so I don't see a world where we get this on 4K, but you knock on wood, you just never know. Audio commentary by Lee Pfeiffer, Tony Latino, and Paul Scrabo. On a Weapon Called Style, author Jeremy Arnold on John Farrow's Warriors and combat films, and then Lux Radio Theater, Submarine Command. This is the radio version with William Holden from 1952. Botany Bay, really cool movie. Now, you're going to want to get this box set for all the cool John Farrow films, but you're also, Kino Lorber's putting Botany Bay out. They've already announced it. And you're going to want to get that, wink, wink, because if you follow Serial at Midnight, it's a release you're going to want to have in your collection. Okay, so this has a commentary by Daniel Kramer and David Del Val on it, and Joe Dante, which is amazing. Joe Dante on the artistry of John Farrow, his kind of director with Joe Dante. And then John Farrow, Hollywood's Man in the Shadows, which is a... how long is this? An hour and 36 minutes. Part mystery, part biography, part film noir. This documentary follows the stranger-than-fiction story of this Australian-born, Oscar-winning filmmaker and one of Hollywood's most enigmatic figures. This has this is a 2021 documentary. Botany Bay and Plunder of the Sun sequence. The Big Clock with Joe Dante. And original crowdfunding investment teaser. If you know me and you've been watching my Imprint coverage, you know that these Tales of Adventure collections are some of my absolute favorite things. These movies have often not seen the light of day since maybe the VHS era. And they're being collected in these loosely themed adventure collections. This one is sort of a militaristic action adventure sort of thing. High stakes, thrills infused with heroism, danger, and tenacious bravery. Brace yourself for action in this 4-disc limited Blu-ray set. So, and what they're able to do as well, let me see, the Columbia, Paramount, ITV, I don't even know who this logo is. They're bringing together movies from different studios that would never get a box set stateside in the United States, because that's not... We've talked to studios here. You've seen the interviews. That's not a thing that happens. Their studios are very protective. But when it comes to these box sets, these are usually printed in batches of, not batches. You get one shot. They're 1,500 units, so 1,500 for the whole world. And things like this get to happen, but only for these box sets, because it's such a smaller niche sort of audience. So let me see if I'm doing these in order. Okay. 10 Tall Men with Burt Lancaster. We have no features here. The Heroes of Telemark with Kirk Douglas and Richard Harris. It's an Anthony Mann film, so I'm very excited because you guys know that I'm a fan of Anthony Mann, and this does have a lot of stuff on it. Audio commentary by Steve Mitchell and Stephen J. Rubin. It's new. The Making of the Heroes of Telemark. That's an interview with the production crew. Playing a Hero, interview with actor David Weston. 1965 promotional films, location reports from Norway and Weymouth, interviews with actor Richard Harris, Michael Redgrave, Ola Jacobson, Kirk Douglas, and Anthony Mann, and then the trailer. Sands of the Kalahari. Stuart Woodman, Stanley Baker, Susanna York. Is this it's Paramount. Okay. Audio commentary by Scott Harrison. That's brand new. And Sounds of the Kalahari. It's an interview with the camera operator. And Clapper Loader. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever seen an interview with a Clapper Loader before. Lost Command. This is Anthony Quinn, Alain Delon, George Siegel, Michelle Morgan, Maurice Ronet, and Claudia Cardinal. This is bare bones as well. We got a trailer. Not bare bones if there's a trailer, but it's close to it. And if you're wondering why some of these may be bare bones, I don't know. But since I've begun doing commentaries, there are some times that the studio says there will be no commentary for that. So what in the researching of a film, sometimes you come upon things that, and I don't know that this is the case. I'm just saying, as you research a film, you come upon things and you're like, oh, they probably don't want that story out there. Movie making can be messy. You know, there's relationships, there's power struggles, there's things. Case in point, Star Wars The Force Awakens. I feel no reservations picking on Disney a little bit, because they've given us, I mean, they give us a new reason to pick on them every single day. But the case of The Force Awakens, J.J. Abrams, you know, first of all, you have to talk about how Bob Iger, people call that Kathleen Kennedy's movie. No, Bob Iger is one of the people that came up with the story for that movie. It's Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, and J.J. Abrams sat in a room. Two executives and a director sat in a room and came up with the story for the sequel trilogy. And then George Lucas, who thought he was contributing to the story, walks in and they're like, we've already got the story, George. And he's like, what? He was outraged. They go make this movie. It's not baked yet. It's not ready yet. Harrison Ford has a door fall on his leg, breaks his leg. They have to shut down production for weeks. J.J. Abrams rewrites the screenplay during this break, during production. And that's how that movie was made. That story's never coming out and like on a Disney disc, on a commentary. So just a case in point, right? Things happen behind these scenes on some movies that just makes it, you know, they don't always put the story out there on an official product. You can tell the story elsewhere, but on an official product from that studio, you know what I mean? The Kim Novak collection, yeah, this is great. We got a quote from Kim Novak, just breathtaking. Pal Joey, Gene Eagles, and Middle of the Night. So this is the next three. I think this is my third copy of Pal Joey, which I'm fine with. Rita Hayworth, come on, big Rita Hayworth fan. This has it's a 4K scan. Now look, Paramount was it Paramount? Somebody just, I think it's Paramount. No, it was Sony. It's Sony just announced. Is this Sony too? This is Sony too. They just announced The Lady from Shanghai, which you guys know I love. It's one of my top 5 film noirs. If you see my video with Max Allen Collins, we both did top 5 film noirs, and we tried to stay off the, like, I don't think either one of us mentioned Double Indemnity or anything like that. Though we might have, honestly, I'm trying to think back. Did Max? Anyway, The Lady from Shanghai, a movie I never would have thought would get a 4K, is getting one. So hey, Pal Joey, it's Rita Hayworth, it's Sinatra, man. So it could happen, but you don't want to gamble on these things. You don't want to miss a movie and gamble, because it's only through the support of stuff like this that the studio even knows that there's interest in the first place. So 4K scan. Audio commentary on selected scenes by Kim Novak and author Stephen Rebello. Backstage and at home with Kim Novak. That's a 2010 featurette. By the way, someone's going to say region coded. These imprints always region free. And we're about to talk about Umbrella in a second. And I checked all those discs. Umbrella's having to start. They're having to lock things now because the studio's saying to lock it, which it always comes from the studio. Even if it says region B for Umbrella, I checked them, they played fine for me. So this is let's see. Oh, we got commentary. Okay, selected scene commentary by Kim Novak and Stephen Rebello. Again, that's it. That in a trailer. And Middle of the Night. Alongside Frederick March. This wave of Imprint is my favorite in months, because I just love everything here is 1966 or earlier, and that's my sweet spot. And I grew up with 80s movies, right? I grew up with 70s and 80s and 90s, obviously. This is the area that I've had to seek out and explore, and it's made me love it more. Reflections in the Middle of the Night. That's a featurette. That's the feature here. But for 3 Kim Novak films, you could do a lot worse. All right, let's launch into Umbrella. These are not numbered, so it doesn't matter what order I go in, but they are awesome. Coffee. Oh my goodness. When this was announced, I was really, really excited. This is sort of the thing that kicked off. Pam Grier had been around. She'd done things, but this predates Foxy Brown, right? Yeah, Interview with Pam Grier on Coffee, and its follow-up, Foxy Brown. So directed by Jack Hill, obviously blaxploitation, obviously that whole scene that Pam Grier is just so synonymous with. She's forever connected to that particular kind of cinema. And this is just a really beautiful. Now, these are going to be the Umbrella website editions. Everything we're going to talk about here is a website edition, I believe. And you can remember, you can save 15% on your Umbrella order by using code CEREAL15. The movie is also available by itself. If you don't want to get the larger, frankly more expensive website exclusive version, you can just get the movie. But for those, like, I'm so glad I get to review these because I love Coffee. I've got a Blu-ray copy. I think Olive put out Coffee, and Olive's gone now, so I don't know what's going to happen with Coffee. Maybe it'll get a stateside release on 4K. Wouldn't that be amazing? I know nothing. I know nothing. But it would be amazing if it did. So here's all the info. Okay? And let's do... It's the first time I've seen this. I should mention too, like when these come in, I try not to look at them too much because I want my reactions to be fresh for you guys. You know those videos on YouTube where it's like watching, I don't know, watching a music video for the first time, and you like are watching the trailer reaction videos, all these reactions. I don't believe that. I don't think that's real. So I try to bring as much authenticity to these as possible. So what I've done is I've taken these out, checked the disc. And when I have, like for these, I flipped it to the art that doesn't have the ratings logo on it, so that you see the clean art. But listen to this, guys. We got audio commentary by Jack Hill, which I know that commentary because back in the DVD days. So I guess this is my third copy of Coffee. Back in the DVD days, I would rip commentaries as MP3s and put them on my phone or my MP3 player, whatever it was, my iPod, I don't know. And I would listen to them like podcasts and listen to them over and over. So I'm listening to commentaries like while I'm driving, and I had the Jack Hill commentary from this, and I think from Foxy Brown too. A Taste of Coffee, interview with Jack Hill. The Baddest Chick in Town, interview with Pam Grier on Coffee, and its follow-up, Foxy Brown. A feature-length documentary by Larry Cohen, and the Pam Grier trailer compilation, which that in itself is... That's great. I don't think we've had that before. 2 pieces of art on the poster. We've got this book that comes with this perfect bound book. Nice. This is the first time I'm looking at this. Coffee production notes. It's full of photos. How does it smell? Us tangible collectors, it doesn't really have much of a smell. Pam Grier and the Women of Blaxploitation. It's by David Michael Brown. Did this have a table of contents that I missed? No. All right, let me see if there's anything. I mean, it's just Jack Hill Talks Coffee by David Michael Brown. Hey, there's Sid. For the horror, people go, I only watch horror. Do you guys know that the horror only crowd, you know, Sid Haig was in a lot of like blaxploitation movies and Spider Baby. If you haven't seen Spider Baby, which I guess is horror, but not really, I think Rob Zombie owes his entire career to Spider Baby. And the Sid Haig's in like a lot of Universal shows from the late 70s and early 80s. So I think that he's in an episode of the A-Team. Okay, here's these cards. You know what? I'm just going to tear this. I always like slide it off. I'm just going to tear it. I'm seeing these for the first time, so I have to make sure that they're... Even if they weren't safe for the camera, I could edit around it, but I just want to see them too. Very, very cool. Did you see the cover of the book that I showed you guys that, right? Ransom, a movie in the U.S. title, was the U.S. title for this movie was The Terrorists, I believe. And it's Sean Connery and Ian McShane. Freeze it. Perfect example, says it's region B. That's why I checked. And I don't think it's always going to be the case that these play fine, because again, I think they're having to start locking some things. But see, I watched this movie back, it was probably around the millennium, 99, 2000, 2001. That's when that's the time when, I'm growing up in the 80s. During the 90s, I'm exploring my own film fandom outside of like, well, it's there, so I have to like it. That was the era of Tarantino and like all those crime movies and Paul Thomas Anderson and that really great scene that was happening. Then you get around 99, 2000, 2001, and I'm just discovering through Blockbuster, you could rent 5 movies for 5 nights for $5. And I was just tearing my way through cinema history because that was the way to see movies. We didn't have Netflix. We didn't have Redbox. You went to the video store. And I remember seeing this around the same time that I saw, because it's Bond, right? It's Connery. It's 1974. It's really right after he's kind of realizing that he's not Bond anymore. Like he's stepping away from Bond. And Pierce Brosnan was my Bond at the time, and he had been in a movie called Taffin. Now, they're 2 different generations of movies, but I always connect them in my head. This movie and Taffin with Pierce Brosnan. Both, like, they're good, but they're not, I guess maybe they're not great. I don't know. That's not the point. We put so many expectations on movies sometimes that we can't just be like, oh, that was good, I enjoyed it. This is a feature-length audio commentary with Lee Pfeiffer, editor of Cinema Retro Magazine. That's going to be a commentary I'm definitely going to be checking out. Along with film historians Paul Scrabo and Tony Latino. The Wilderness Period, Kim Newman on Sean Connery. Sean Connery 70s trailer reel. That's awesome. Alternate title sequence, a trailer, and a teaser. Oh, it's a half sheet. Or it's like a mini half sheet style. And again, this is the website version with all the exclusive goodies here. The book, that's great artwork. So, just in the collector's market, and I don't think everything should be geared to the collector market. I think there need to be mainstream releases too. But with the collector's market, they really, like, if you like this movie, if you're a Sean Connery fan or a collector, like, they are giving you so much for your money. It's like, how far in do you want to go with it? I'm going to guess there's a lot. Oh, wow. This is the press book. And then we've got these cards, which I'm just going to tear this. I'm just going to do it. No going back now. I suppose probably one of the things that I was dealing with as a fan coming to this for the first time when I did is that these movies are very British. This has a very British sensibility. It has a very adult, very 70s feeling. And if you're, you have to be the right age for that or it just falls flat. You got to be able to get something out of that. It takes a little bit of maturity to get something out of that. Tank Girl, a movie. So I haven't watched this since the 90s probably when it was new. And this was on the back, Super Mario Brothers and later Tank Girl was advertised on the back cover of maybe it was the inside front cover of like every comic book. Any comic book you bought, like if you picked up a Wonder Woman or like I was trying to think, Avengers, whatever, inside an ad for Tank Girl or on the back cover. It was everywhere. Now, my memory of this movie is that it is very unconventional. It's a comic book movie. It's a comic book ad because it is based on comics. Is it not? Wasn't this an underground comic back in the day? Haven't watched it in years, like I said, but my memory is that it was very unconventional. It was very sort of satirical. And we just could not have that now. And I miss that. I miss being able to see really strange, unconventional things that used to be everywhere back then, and now they're not. And it's only in retrospect that I'm able to see what we have lost, and it hurts, man. We've lost so much cool stuff, and I hope that it comes back around. I see this is Malcolm McDowell. You guys hear his interview on Mark Maron's podcast? It's a good interview. It talks about how Clockwork Orange was a satire. It's supposed to be funny. Front slip cover. So even this is like a commentary on the Warhol Campbell soup cans, the pop art thing. I really like this new art. I'm usually a stickler for original art. I like this art, but I really do like this art. This is poppy and colorful, and I don't know, I like it. What do we got here? We got audio commentary with the director and the actress Lori Petty. We got an interview with Lori Petty, interview with Doug Jones, interview with the production designer Catherine Hardwick, a video essay by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, and archival featurette theatrical trailer. That's just the on-disc stuff. We've got our book here. Iron Ladies, Riot Girls, and the Surreal Superheroics of Rachel Talele's Tank Girl. Oh, this wraps around. There's a lot of text in this. That's exciting to me. I mean, there's something so punk rock about this. I miss when this attitude could be picked up by the mainstream, you know, when the punks and the goths and the, you know, all the alternative crowd was dictating the mainstream. Because as I've said many times, we have the thing that all the studios want, and that's the money. Now this is a new film, and I don't know a whole lot about this. This is Time Addicts. It's produced, executive produced by Jeff Harrison, Ari Harrison, the Darius family. Now I've interviewed Jeff Harrison. Jeff Harrison is the founder of Umbrella, and I interviewed him right here on the channel. He's an investor in films as well, and this is a 2023 movie about time travel, but it's a thriller in approach. Oh, hello. I'll leave this J card on here. Freeze that and read it. We got outtakes and audio commentary with the director, Fantastic Film Festival Australia screening, a Q&A with the artistic director of the festival. And this is the slipcover. This is the limited slipcover, and then here's the... Now, the Australia watches these videos. Just the whole continent of Australia watches these videos. They're deeply invested in Botany Bay. But they, like, Australians, what do you guys think about this movie? Because this is this is an export. You know, you guys made this. This is your thing. What do you think about it? Because I would love to hear your take on it. It says it's Region B. Again, I checked it. So, oh, is there a poster? It's not a poster. There's a booklet here. Letter from the director. Director Q&A, producer statement, producer's Q&A, screenwriter, director of photography. I like this art. Okay, that is that concludes the Australian portion of this video. Let's talk about ClassicFlix. This is a release that is near and dear to my heart. This is Meet John Doe, which is a 1941? Yeah, 1941. Directed by Frank Capra. Okay, the great Frank Capra. It's one of his darkest movies, and it's You know what? I'm not going to read all of this to you guys, but desperate to get her newspaper job back after being downsized, Barbara Stanwyck's character figures to create some fireworks by contriving a letter from John Doe, a man so disgusted with the world, the state of the world, that in protest he vows to jump off the City Hall roof at midnight on Christmas Eve. Suicide at Christmas time theme going on with Capra here, guys. A public reaction to the letter is so overwhelming that she not only keeps her job, but she and her editor connive to hire a real John Doe in order to maintain the deception. Enter Gary Cooper, who fills the role, and it's dark, right? And it's a statement about like the darkness of the times, and it's talking about the media, and it's talking about like creating it's fake news, right? We're talking about a movie from 80 years ago, more than 80 years ago, that still feels relevant and timely. And this almost didn't happen. Well, I shouldn't say that, but this was announced with a 4K by ClassicFlix. Now, you know that I love, you can see my ClassicFlix, and that's not all of them, but you can see ClassicFlix movies right over there. You know, I love the ClassicFlix label. It is mostly the work of a very small team, and they fund these restorations and then take the profits of what they sell and fund the next restoration. And this was announced for Blu-ray and 4K, and there was so little pre-order support for this that the 4K got canceled. And a lot of people were angry because they're like, well, if I'd known that it was on the bubble like that, I would have pre-ordered it. But I think the message there is that you never know. I think a lot of releases are probably on the bubble. And Liz, I'm not trying to... We can only support what we can support. We all have limits, right? But it is a startling reminder how quickly some of this stuff could go away, and how close some of these companies are operating to the bone, for lack of a better word. So, you know, when I talked about this on social media, the special features, it's got a restoration comparison, and somebody was like, I can't believe there's not more special features. Well, maybe we should just be grateful that the movie has been restored in HD and we get to own it. It's kind of crazy to me that the sale of a movie might depend on special features, which is known in the business as value added material, VAM. VAM encourages purchase, but when a movie comes from a smaller label that is really doing very hands-on stuff, I mean, I think we're just lucky to have it. ClassicFlix could use your support. And by buying that, you fund the next restoration, whatever it may be. Like, we support it's just a thing, right? It's everybody wants to be mad at the people that are selling us this stuff. We're wired for anger. We're wired to be upset. Like, they're trying to take advantage of us. No, they're trying to stay in business. Now, some people are doing better than others. Some people seem to just be printing money by doing, like, you know, by leaning on carnival tactics. ClassicFlix doesn't do that, and I really appreciate that. But the other side of that is you support that directly, just like this channel. You support CerealAtMidnite directly, because you've probably seen some ads in the middle of this video. Those ads do not... It's a fraction of a penny per, like, 100 views. So if you're thinking, well, he's got ads, he's okay. No, you support what you care about directly. So that's it. Everybody should just do whatever they want to do, right? But just know the world we're living in now, this is how it works. Like, we support the things that we care about directly, and that includes the movies that we want to see, because you just never know. You never know how close some of these companies are operating to how thin their margins are. Here's another one, Fun City Editions. Fun City Editions is doing incredible work, and I think this is one of the most ambitious things to come out of Fun City Editions this year, if memory serves. I think this is one of their biggest releases so far of 2024. This is the Seeing Red, 3 French vigilante thrillers. So it's 3 films from, I think all from the 80s, 82, 84, and 84. Shot Pattern, Street of the Damned, and Blacklist. So these are gritty crime films from France that have been given this great boutique collector's treatments. We got the sweet slipcover, right? And then here's the thing. This has got reversible art inside with all 3 covers. I'll show you in a second. But Shot Pattern has an audio commentary by Travis Woods, alternate ending with the director's commentary, an archival video remembrance with the director, archival video remembrance by the star. Street of the Damned has an audio commentary by Travis Woods. Archival video interview with, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce some of these names, I'm sorry, because they're French. Archival video interview with Bernard Pierce Donadieu. Blacklist has an audio commentary by Walter Chaw and includes trailers, image galleries, and a booklet essay by Barry Forshaw. We'll talk about that video essay in a second. By the way, got some knucks, some brass knucks right there. I like the treatment of the discs themselves. See, I've yet to catch up with these films because, for obvious reasons, right? But I'm so excited that we have things like this. We have the world at our fingertips. We have world cinema like never before. We've never had so many titles hitting us from the boutiques. We've never had so much love for movies, so much access to movies, so many clean restorations for movies. So anyway, that's awesome. And here's, like, it just keeps going, right? So we've got, this is from Eureka. Who are these? Both of these are from Eureka. Okay, so this is 2 action films. We've got it's not films, two action releases. We got Prison Walls 1 through 3, Abashiri Prison 1 through 3. This is, now I don't know a whole lot about these movies. I only know from what I've read here, but there's a bunch of these movies from 1965 to 1972. Starring the king of cult Teruo Ishii, and starring the titan of Japanese genre cinema, as directed by Teruo Ishii, starring Ken Takakura from The Bullet Train. Just incredible stuff. So we've got a booklet, we've got this reversible art. There's 1 film. It's 3 films on 2 discs. Loaded up with special features. Here's the booklet. If you've seen these movies, let's talk about them, because I have not. There's going to be a whole lot of people in the comments that have not seen them either. We've got the original Japanese uncompressed audio. We've got optional English subtitles. Brand new audio commentary by Tom Mez, Chris Poggiali, the author of another Abashiri Prison story, and Mike Leader and Arn Venema, who do great commentaries for these action movies. Breakout, Jasper Sharp and Mark Schilling discuss Abashiri Prison. Tony Raines, who is like, he's this very erudite, intelligent guy who I could just, and I do sometimes, just listen to him talk for like an hour about a single movie. And he doesn't seem to be operating from notes. He seems to just be lecturing. It feels like film school in a good way. Trailers plus the collector's booklet. It's great. And then A Queen's Ransom, which is, looking for the full cast. There's George Lazenby, Angela Mao, and the legendary Jimmy Wang Yu from what's the year on this? It's probably on the actual case here. Anyway, Eureka has really, since they have launched into the US market, I've been really impressed. A little jealous of the stuff that the UK gets because they're so elaborate and exhaustive. You know, this is really cool stuff. But I'm happy that they've entered the US market. And of course, we could always import, right? But you got to have a region-free player for a lot of it. Oh, here's the table of contents. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. This stuff, like, if you like Asian cinema, there's more than we can get to because it's all happening right now. From Blue Underground on 4K, Death Dream. Do I think of the Lovin' Spoonful song Daydream every time I see this movie title? Yes, I do. What a day for a death dream. This is Blue Underground just continues to, like, I feel like everything in their catalog they're restoring for 4K, and just like ClassicFlix, because I talked to Bill Lustig about it. I've interviewed Bill Lustig. I should reach out to him again. We should do a follow-up interview. But funding them out of the profits from the previous one. Like, there's a studio involved here. He's doing it by himself. It's Bill Lustig, man. It's the director of Maniac, who's just restoring all the movies that he has the licenses for in 4K. It's incredible. They just announced The Million Eyes of Sumeru, which I can't wait for that one, because I really like that. It's actually one of my favorite movies in the Blue Underground catalog. Audio commentary by the director Bob Clark. I should have mentioned that. Bob Clark, horror for sure, but also was the same guy that directed this movie, directed A Christmas Story, which is always crazy to me. Audio commentary with the makeup artist Alan Ormsby. New audio commentary with Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson. And that's just on the 4K. Then the Blu-ray, you know what? It just goes, there's so much stuff here. Back that off a little bit because it looks like it's blurring a little bit. It's just tons and tons and tons of stuff. A while back, Paul Bunnell, the director of The Ghastly Love of Johnny X, reached out to me and said, would you like to talk about my movie on your channel? And I said, not only would I like to talk about your movie, I'd like to talk to you. And this has just arrived. This is Paul Bunnell's The Ghastly Love of Johnny X, which is a labor of love for Paul. He shot it on film, and it's just from like it's roughly a decade ago. So it's not like this ancient thing. This is a director, an independent director, doing something really, really ambitious. And I'm going to not talk too much about it here because I have further plans for this, like hopefully the interview we talked about. But this is in collaboration with Mr. Lobo, and you can find this at the Mr. Lobo storefront, and it's got a ton of stuff on it, a ton of stuff. So we've got an audio commentary with Paul Bunnell, Ego Plum, Deanna Joy Brooks. We got audio commentary with Paul Bunnell and Mr. Lobo. We've got interviews with Will Keenan, Paul Williams. Yes, that Paul Williams. Additional cast interviews. We've got, again, it just goes on and on and on. And this is a multi-disc set. We've got the Ghastly Scope glasses. Here's the key art for The Ghastly Love of Johnny X. It's been signed by Mr. Lobo. And then there's the Blu-ray. So these are manufactured on demand, right? These are for the fans, by the fans. Oh, hey. But I wanted to shout this out in a video because not only do I appreciate Mr. Lobo and Paul sending this over, but I know a lot of you guys are going to be interested in it. We have the 3D fans here, but we've also got a lot of the micro-budget movie fans here who would really support something like that. So I wanted to cover it. All right, we're going to close with Alpha Video. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about here, and I've had very little time to see much of it. So we'll just take sort of a cursory look at it, just so you know what's coming out. So we've got Trail of Terror. This is Lost Treasures of the West as the Texas Rangers. It's Dave Tex O'Brien, Jim Newell as the Texas Rangers. This is a hold on, I'm looking for the year for this. 1943. You know I love my B-Westerns. I get a new B-Western here that I'm very excited about. Here, I'll flip that around. I'll let you guys freeze that and read it if you want to. A Clarence Brown film, The Goose Woman, Silent Classics Collection. There's a lot of silent stuff in here. I'll tell you this. I've always kind of struggled with silent cinema. Like, I love Chaplin and some of the greats. I love Buster Keaton and who's the one I'm forgetting? You guys know the Harold Lloyd. Good Lord. I have been talking now for 50 minutes straight. So, but I'm falling more in love with silent cinema as I get older because I'm able to come to it. This is the history aspect of it. And as Alpha really starts to lean into these silent movies, I'm finding there's just, the rewards are so great for me to explore these films. And in some cases, not all cases, in some cases, these are the most accessible way to see these movies. I would also reference you to oldies.com as the cheapest place and the best place to get your Alpha Video titles. But this is a 1925 film with Lucy Dresser, and Constance Bennett. Turpin and Company. And these are all going to be this is all silent. They're various years here. They're from the Max. Well, not. I guess they're not all Max Sennett, but The Manicure Lady is from 1911. Out of Control is from 1917. Step Forward is from 1922. Hooked at the Altar is from 1926. You know, I think about the comments I get when I talk about a certain older movie, maybe from the 40s or the 50s, realizing that I'm watching silent movies from silent shorts from 1907. Kino Lorber's got something coming out. It's the Vitagraph comedies, and it's from the Library of Congress has done the restorations. It starts at 1907, and it's not creaky. It's not like unapproachable. It's amazing. It's like we're looking in a window. It's like somebody shot these with an iPhone filter to make it look old. And it's just like the older I get, the further I dig into this stuff. I'm like, we haven't changed at all. We're the same. So that the value is just greater for me. Lost Silent Classics. This is Stop at Nothing. George Larkin, Ollie Kirby with, 1924. Directed by Charles R. Seeling. Our parents, people. It's a question I ask myself as a parent all the time. 1925, Betty Bronson, Adolphe Menjou, Florence Vidor, Lawrence Gray, directed by Malcolm St. Clair. The Busher, Charles Ray, Colleen Moore. Here's another silent film. Thomas H. Ince production. 1919. If you're a baseball fan, I mean, 'tis the season, right? But here's a baseball movie from 1919. Home Sweet Home, directed by some guy, D.W. I've been to D.W. Griffith's grave, you guys, outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And it was a interesting experience. It was a memorable experience. I have no regrets. Not to like imply anything weird. It was just like, it was a really cool experience. But you're just out in the country. It's like this little country church out in the middle of Kentucky. And there's one of the greatest film directors of our time. Like, he helped to create film as we know it. And he's just in this church cemetery out in the middle of nowhere. It's wild. It's wild. Lillian and Dorothy Gish. What is the year on this? 1914. It's 3 interwoven tales. Got our World War II documentary double feature, Battle for Europe and We Are the Marines. 1942 to 1949. Oh yeah. Jack Randall, Riders of the Dawn. Super excited about this one too. 1937, another B Western. See if I know any of the. Let's see, we got Jack Randall, Warner Richmond, George Cooper, Peggy Keys, Chief Darkhawk, directed by Robert N. Bradbury. Did I hold up the back? 2 more. Stay with me, guys. We're almost done. Earthquakes. These natural disaster collections are wild. Vintage documentary short subjects. Earthquake from 1973. Earthquake Below from 1975, and Peru, Quake and Recovery from 1971. It is like these historical documentary things. It's crazy. And then we are ending with another silent film, silent classics collection, Hotel Imperial with Pola Negri from 1927. So getting almost up to the sound era. See if we know anybody else from the cast. George Siegman and Max Davidson, directed by Maurice Stiller. Guys, a huge haul. I don't even know how to wrap this video up, honestly. I don't even know. I mean, like, so much. It's just so much. It's the best of times. It's the worst of times because there's so much. There's so much to be thankful for. There's so much to explore. This is just the tip of the iceberg for what comes out in any single month. I've still got a Kino Lorber video hitting toward the end of the month. There's so much stuff hitting there's so many options, and it's great, right? Like, I never want to sound like I'm complaining, but what I do want to sound like is like, when I do see the complaints, people, when everybody's like, it's that whole they're trying to take it away from us. Like, there's so much that we have so much. We have more than we can even get to now. Nobody can get to all this, right? So I don't know. I feel such gratitude whenever I do these videos. One, I'm obviously tired. It's hot. It's hot in this room under these lights, and I get a little bit fried. My brain goes a little bit. It's like an egg. This is your brain on physical media coverage. But when I get to these videos, I'm tired, right? But I'm also just like, what a blessing it is to have movies from 1911 to 2023 available for us, at a time when you used to have to really hunt this stuff down. You used to have to stay up. You used to read the TV guide and see if something was coming on and be there to record it. Or you had to go to a film festival. Or you had to have access to a video store that carried things that weren't just popular. And so, now, like, it's all happening. And it's great. But there's only so much time, space, and money is the thing. So it's all that. It's all that happened at the same time. I know you guys feel it too, but I just love when we get to talk about movies as just to kind of celebrate it and to love it and appreciate it without that anger. That's like, I think that's social media. I know a lot of you guys don't have that. I know my core audience doesn't have anger. They have a lot of gratitude about this stuff. I just want to say thank you to you guys. That means a lot to me because I love movies and I love talking about movies. And these haul videos, these are some of the only videos that some of you guys are going to watch. And I hope that you get the love of movies from what I'm talking about. I hope that you don't feel like I'm trying to sell them to you, because I'm not. I hope that you get a love of movies, a love of cinema, not a love of collecting, not a love of, like, what's it worth and how much can you sell it for? I don't care about any of that. I just love movies and it gets me excited. I think movies, it's everything. It's everything about the human experience is in our movies. All right, I'm rambling. It's the heat, baby. Thank you guys so much for sticking through if you made it to the end of this video, you're a rock star. I appreciate you so much. Hey, remember to subscribe, do thumbs ups, and give thumbs ups to this video. That encourages that mysterious algorithm that none of us can figure out, but it helps this channel in the algorithm. If you want to support Cereal at Midnight at a larger level, we're talking about supporting the things you love directly. You can become a YouTube member for $5. You get early access to stuff. You get to unlock some exclusives. More importantly, it supports Cereal at Midnight for like the cost of a cup of coffee, right? Like the cost of a Starbucks coffee each month. You can support Cereal at Midnight. There's also Patreon memberships. There's a lot of different ways you can support. You can buy a shirt from the store. As I'm recording this video, there's a shirt sale going on at Threadless. Links are in the description of this video and in every video. They've got $13 shirts. So any of the Cereal at Midnight shirts that I wear, that's where they come from. They come from the Threadless store. I don't print them myself. That's been licensed out to them. They're a third party. So, but $13 shirts, right? So that's a really good deal. They don't go on sale that often. And when they do, they're usually not that low. That's a way to support the channel. Using my Amazon links in the description of this video. If you want to pick any of this stuff up from Amazon, we all know Amazon's not the best, but if you have a gift card or, if you live in an area that doesn't have access to a mom and pop shop or whatever, my Amazon links, that's another way to support Cereal at Midnight. So just like mindfulness in different ways that you can help. So appreciated. And you just being here, just to be clear, just you being here, watching these, spending some time with me, that's enough. And I appreciate it. So guys, thanks so much. Remember, movies matter. Till next time, I will catch you later.